Hey everybody, so I'm excited because it's time to plant the circle garden again. This is the third year since I redid this area, and I love planting this area up because it's just super fun to experiment with different things, and it's so different from everything else in my garden. So the way this garden is designed in my head is that there are 4 segments. Each segment has a boxwood in the middle. And if you drew a line, if you stretched a string between each of the boxwoods, that would create a triangle, like a diamond within it. And then if you did this across as well, it would create a cross. So what I've done is, following those imaginary lines, I've broken each segment into 3. And what I do is I mass plant each of those. Now some of these have perennials or shrubs in them already. But others I fill up with annuals every year. So I thought I'd walk you around and show you what I'm going to be planting in each area. So you can come in a little closer now. Walk in. Don't do any zooming, just sort of walk in. Okay. All right, so in this first area, I'm going to plant a lantana. Out. This is called Lucious Bananarama, okay, but it has this kind of really nice, true, I kind of consider that a true yellow. I'm only going to need 5 of those. Those get quite big. In front of that, I'm just going to do your basic lemon coral sedum. I kind of like a foliage accent in each segment if I can get that, because I think it breaks it up a little bit. And then the last one is, this is Bishop of Canterbury dahlia. This is a dark foliage dahlia that doesn't get too tall, only about 30 inches, so it doesn't need staking, and it gets a hot pink flower. So that dark foliage with the hot pink I think is going to be really pretty, and then it'll combine nicely with these 2. Over here I've got Bobo hydrangea, which just bloom like nuts. They just get completely covered in flowers, which is great. I've got Hakonechloa All Gold over here. This area used to get a little bit more shade, but we've had a tree cut down, so hopefully the Hakonechloa will be okay here this year with a little bit more sun. And then in this segment I'm doing something a little different. I'm going to be planting mostly this Alternanthera. I hope I'm saying that. Alternanthera. How's that? This is just a ground cover. Well, not really ground cover, but it's sort of a bedding plant, I think. But basically this is what it does. It gets these beautiful purple leaves. I've got a couple different varieties of it. I just picked them up where I found them. But because I knew I wanted to plant a whole bunch of them, I also did this. I also made some cuttings, and I've been rooting cuttings. This was something else that clearly didn't work. I've been rooting cuttings, so, and this happened pretty easily, so I'm going to be filling in these gaps with little rooted cuttings, which I think should take over pretty. In between there, I'm going to do 5 little, like, polka dots of diamond frost euphorbia. This is sort of my hot area in terms of hot colors. So we've got lady's mantle over here, one of my favorite must-have plants. So beautiful, you'll get that pretty chartreuse flower on it. But just that foliage, you cannot beat it. And I love how it's filled in this area so well. In front, I grew these from seed. This is Signet marigold. This is Tangerine Gem. It has this beautiful kind of thin, feathery foliage. It'll get small orange flowers, be really beautiful, and they're edible. And they just keep blooming. So I'll fill in this whole area with those. And then behind that is, this is HS Flame dahlia. I have grown this dahlia in this spot all 3 years because it just works perfectly. This is another dark foliage, shorter one that doesn't need staking. It's a single. It's a red flower with a yellow center on it. The bees love it, and so do I. So that's over here. All right, this last section, this is always the one that I think sort of throws people for a loop, because this is where I have rhubarb. I think rhubarb is just the prettiest foliage ever. It looks tropical, it's big, it does its thing. I've already picked some rhubarb to make a pie already this year, so it's a little sparse, but it'll fill in. Behind me is, these are all roses. This is David Austin I say Alnwick rose, but someone told me it's Alnwick rose. Beautiful pink rose with a lovely scent. That's mass planted over here. And I do have a little bit of chocolate drop, whatever that plant is, which I will think of. Just kind of as a ground cover there to kind of fill in between the roses. And then here, these are all petunias that I grew from seed this year. This is Evening Sensation Petunia. It's supposed to have a scent. Oh, it does. You can already actually smell it already. In the evenings, it's supposed to get kind of scented. This is an All-American Selections winner. And I grew it from seed and it did so well. And I'm so excited because you know, sometimes if you have to buy a lot of plants, I never get enough plants to fill in the area because I don't want to spend that kind of money. But I grew all these for seed for pennies, so it was fabulous. But look at this pretty flower on there. It's like, it's almost iridescent. So we will see how these do, but this is just going to be one big mass planting of these. I actually have already planted up the center here. The center is, ooh! I've actually already planted up the center. The center is just alternating Dark Night and Blushing Princess Lobularia. And those will fill in. They don't look like much right now. I did buy ones that really weren't flowering because I didn't want them to be flowering yet. I wanted them to worry about getting themselves established. Those will fill in inside of here. And then I've got 3 clematis growing up the middle. And I would tell you which 3 those are, except that there are about 5 clematis labels in here and only 3 clematis. So I have to figure out when they bloom which one's which because I'm not sure anymore. I forgot. So those will fill up here. This will fill in there. But anyways, I am going to get going on the planting here and get this stuff in the ground, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're all finished. So it's a few days later and all the plants have had a chance to sort of settle in. Things will continue to grow here and fill in these areas, but I always love planting this garden. I think this garden is just a hoot to get creative in and do something different in than I do in the rest of my garden. And the chives are all thinking about blooming soon, which is really pretty. And a little side note on the chive hedge, once these chives flower, chives tend to get a little floppy then. I will cut the whole thing back, water it, and within 2 or 3 weeks, I will have that chive hedge back again. So anyways, that's the circle garden this year. Thank you so much for watching this, you guys. I appreciate, love to hear what you think about this, and let me know if there's any areas in your garden where you do something that's a little different and out of the box for you.